So from now on, we will turn off the camera and the microphone altogether for having a more smooth proceedings. Today, we have the two sessions. In the first session, we will talk about the Korean ITS standardization and policy trends in Korea. And in the second session, we will see the overseas ITS policy and technology trends. And the Q&A session will be done all together after the session. And based on the questions we received before, we will flexibly carry out the Q&A session according to the time. Hello, everyone. Let me start the event. I am the Seok-je from the ITS Korea and ITS Planning and Organization Operation. I'm so honored to lead today's event. And despite a COVID-19 pandemic, I'd like to thank you for having you in this event together. Please, from now on, we will start the opening session, and let me introduce the guests first. We have the director Lee Sung-min from the Smart Road team of the MOLIT, and we have the mayor of Gangneung City, Kim Han-gun. And we also have the various experts from Korea and the four countries, member countries of the Asian Pacific regions. And detailed the introduction of the speakers will be done before their presentation.
Okay.
Next, please allow me to invite Mr. Kim Chang-Yeon, President of ITS Korea, for his opening remarks. Please welcome him on stage. Good afternoon. I am Kim Chang-Yeon, President of ITS Korea. First, I'd like to express my gratitude to Honorable Dr. William Sabandar, President from ITS Indonesia, Dr. Siew, Council Member of International Committee of ITS Malaysia, Dr. Keon Chief Engineer of LTA of Singapore, Dr. Narupiti, President of ITS Thailand, Mr. Lee Sung-min, Director of MOLIT, Mr. Kim Han-gun, Mayor of Gangneung City, and many distinguished guests and staff members for attending this event, taking time out of your busy schedule despite many challenges posed by COVID-19. This meaningful event is held both on and offline due to global pandemic situation. It aims to share ITS standard and policy trends in Korea as well as those in Asian Pacific region. I hope that today's event helps accelerate the development and bilateral cooperation of ITS areas in Korea and Pacific region. As a leading ITS cooperation channel, ITS Korea is committed to making efforts for industry development, such as ITS policy making and standardizations and technological development by learning lessons from the best practices of other countries. The world is coping with unprecedented pandemic through active quarantine policies and vaccinations to overcome this crisis. And I expect that ITS AP Forum and ITS World Congress and other occasions for harmony and unity are resumed soon. We seem like we are in the middle of storm, but by riding out the storm, I am looking forward to seeing all of you in person in the near future. Before closing, I deliver my thanks to Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport for hosting this event and ITS BOD in Gangneung City for providing this support for this event. My appreciation also goes to participants from home and abroad. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim, for your opening speech. Next, Director of the Smart Road team, Mr. Lee Sung-min, will deliver the congratulatory speech. Please welcome him with a big round of applause. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all. I am Sungmin Lee, the director of the Smart World team in the MOLIT. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and attending this event for your presentations. Particularly, President William Sabandar of ITS Indonesia, Director Siew Leong of ITS Malaysia, and Dr. Kian of the Singapore LTA, and President Sorawit Narupiti of ITS Thailand. Your presence honor these international seminars. Thank you very much. My gratitude and warm welcome also goes to all the participants on and offline. Across the world, a paradigm in all industries is rapidly changing thanks to advanced IT technologies. Particularly, IT's field is expected to be quantitatively expanded and qualitatively refined, and furthermore, eco-friendly transformed. In addition, in order to lead the post-pandemic era, ITS is a very important area. In this regard, today's event was organized to share ITS policy and standards in Korea, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand, and to promote mutual growth in Asia-Pacific regions. Our regional communities are committed to solve transport problem and to develop and implement ITS. We also have been cooperating and building great friendship for the last decades through networking and information sharing in AP regions. I hope we can examine the past and present of ITS technology and standard in today's seminar and seek cooperation for future ITS we will build together. Distinguished guests, we are facing sudden changes of COVID-19 pandemic and the fourth industrial revolution. Various new technologies such as autonomous driving vehicle, big data, AI, and robots are ushered in every day. For these new technologies to be applied to our life as ITS service, seamless connection of various information should be secured, and here ITS standards comes in and play a very important role. Korean government also recognized the importance of this standard and spared no support and effort for these ITS standardization for a long time. Such effort eventually will be a foundation to realize smart city, which is a sustainable future growth engine for all of us. ITS standard and policy will be a catalyst for paradigm shift in ITS industry. Once again, I'd like to thank you for attending this event today again. And I hope this seminar can be a platform to wisely overcome this crisis and to bear fruit of the mutual benefit to move forward to a sustainable future. Stay healthy and safe. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Director Lee Sang-geun. Last but not least, let me invite Mr. Kim Han-geun, Mayor of Gangneung City, for his welcoming remarks.
Firstly, I'd like to express my gratitude to the director, Sungmin Lee, MOLIT, and Chang-Yeon Kim, the president of ITS Korea, for hosting this web seminar. Furthermore, I also thank ITS Board of Directors, Dr. William P. Sabandar, Dr. Sorawit Narupiti, Dr. Leong, Dr. Keong, and all experts for your participation in this seminar. We have developed a faster and more progressive modern civilization for the last 100 years than thousands of years of human history. By contrast, we face new problems threatening our survival by pollution, climate change, resource shortage, and other social problems. We have 결자해지 in Korean proverb, which means we should solve by ourselves what we made problems. I think the new advanced technology is the only solution to solve those problems. In this regard, this international web seminar on the theme of international ITS standard and smart city is so meaningful. It might be looked a mere step, but I'm sure that it will be a great milestone in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, especially I realize how useful ITS and smart city is for the citizen. So that I have been doing my best effort to host ITS World Congress in 2026. I'd like you to support Gangneung City as being the role model of ITS and smart city. Once more, I'd like to give my special thanks to the MOLIT, ITS Korea Board of Directors and all experts who attend this seminar, and I hope you have a constructive discussion and make a solid network. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor, for your wonderful speech. From now on, we will have the group photo session before the first session. I'd like to ask all the participants online and offline, please turn on your camera on your screen so that we can have a group photo time.
예, 자, 다 준비되셨으면 이제
If you are ready, I will count 3. Cheese. Thank you. Now you can turn off your camera.
이제 본격적으로
So from now on, we will start the presentation of the first session. First, the Dr. Yoo-jin Chang from the MOLIT will deliver the presentation under the title of the Future ITS Strategy Reflecting the Latest ITS Trends in Korea. Dr. Chang earned the doctorate from the construction and the transportation engineering, and he is working in the MOLIT from 2013. He is in charge of the Korean ITS standards and the local government projects and the implementation of ITS regulation and planning. Please start your presentation, please. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Yoo-jin Chang, Deputy Director of Smart Road Team in the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport. It is an honor for me to present on behalf of the MOLIT as this significant event where many experts from Asian countries gather today. Although it is a pity that today's meeting is held via video conference due to COVID-19 situation, but I hope that one day we will meet at beautiful place such as Gangneung, which is full of pine scent. Before beginning the presentation, I'd like to talk about the change in the ITS standards and how it is interactively working in Korea right now. So this is the order of the presentation. I have three chapters. First, let me talk about the changes in the ITS in Korea. So the transportation is very important. It is correlated with the industrial revolutions and all the urbanization and road networks, vehicles and other means of transportation has been dramatically developed. With the advent of the convenient means of transportation, the demand for these means have exploded, and as a result, urban social environmental problems related to the transportation have appeared, and the various policies have been introduced to solve this problem. And in order to make a safe traffic environment, we are developing various technologies such as mobile technologies, smart cars, and safer roads. With this technology, the vehicle will be autonomous. The road will be managed by artificial intelligence. And the time will come when we can think about what to enjoy while driving on a smart road in an autonomous vehicle. So how the IT is currently changing in response to the future road traffic environment. Previously, the ITS infra only collected and distributed the information. Now, the ITS infra itself has a role to ensure the safety of pedestrians and vehicles and support traffic safety in the dead zone. And in the future, ITS will provide the various technical support, such as the service necessary for fully autonomous driving of cars and robots and the monitoring traffic conditions in real time. And we are developing these technologies continuously, and it is called the CITS. So in response to these technological developments, Korean government is drawing up various ITS policies. Many of you may have seen this slide. The Korean government has announced a Korean New Deal strategy to overcome the pandemic crisis and lead the global economy after COVID-19 pandemics. This strategy has the two parts, which is the digitalization and the Green New Deal. And SOC, digitalization, have the ITS project, and by 2025, 160 trillion won, which is 133 billion won, will be invested. And in order to improve the competence, we established the basic plan. As you see on this slide, the visions and the goals name is Dreams on ITS, which is digital road for eco-friendly and advanced mobility service. So under this slogan, we have a physical for the paradigm shift. We try to improve the ITS continuously. So ITS master plan has the four goals. First, the establishment of the safe road traffic environment, and second in the capabilities, and the third is the efficiency, and the fourth is the mobility service that anyone can use conveniently anytime. For the detailed information, let me give you some idea. First, about the safety, using the edge computer, we will have a smart CCTV. And for the area, hazardous area, which is the traffic safety vulnerable area, we will connect the drones and then 3D monitoring establishments. For the efficiency, we will lay the foundation for data AI-based traffic management and the digital-based customized service provision to support the traffic flow optimization. We have the various sensors, and we have increasing number of data from those kind of sensors. We have so many various collected data, and to use this data efficiently, we will have the expanded AI monitoring center, and we will also have the open traffic information platform so that we can have the new businesses. And Next is about the innovation of our road system. So far, the traffic control center use the information to provide the information to the users, but in the future, the car information itself will provide the information to the car so that it can autonomously be driven. So we need the map, the fixed-based map. So for all the road, we will provide the map and standardize the road link system. And next is about the fair road traffic information system so that everybody can use the road information in their daily lives. Due to the COVID-19, with the contactless mode, everybody needs the traffic information, and then that can be integrated into all the autonomous connected car and integrated mobility. So we will establish the mobility platform, and then we will have an integration of it. And demand responding system will be pursued in the future too. As explained above, the evolving future ITS will be the digitalization of all transportation facilities, including smart transportation, to the managed smart cities and roads and services that support autonomous vehicle driving. That will ultimately build the data and the ecosystem necessary for an integrated mobility environment for all the citizens.
Next, I will tell you about related legislation improvement and technology development support project prepared by MOLIT for future ITS. So based on the National Integrated Transport System Efficiency Act, we are doing various efforts, and we are revising our regulations and guidelines. So we do have government guidelines, regulations, and manuals, and they are under revision process. And ITS project implementation guideline design handbook in the automobile road traffic field present guideline necessary for designing, building, promoting, operating existing ITC and CITS services. And at the same time, we are also revising various support systems. Such regulations improvement suggest the right direction for business promotion. Then standardization is a very important item that will provide interoperability and comparability between IT systems across the country. The Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport has been developing and operating national ITS architecture, which is basic framework of the national ITS since 1999. And the national ITS architecture supports interoperability and compatibility for the connection of public systems, and in the future, it is necessary to reflect underlying technology that connects vehicle and digital road infrastructure. So to support this, we are going to revise ITS architecture. We will continue to promote ITS standardization along with a revision of national integrated ITS architecture. The existing current ITS standards were established for traffic information, BIS, ETCS, to be applied into the businesses. And this service is KRIHS representative ITS service for the public, and the standard of this service was made to maintain national compatibility. So 5 standards, such as center to infrastructure to vehicle information exchange regulations, BIS information exchange, technical regulation, and ETCS information exchange technical regulations are technical regulations that must be complied with. And also we are operating 120 standards to effectively support the ITS industry. So as you can see here, the new standard should not only apply to CITS, connected and automated driving, MaaS and smart cities, but also provide various criteria such as testing criteria for field equipment, including roadside infrastructure. Although the existing ITS project was carried out mainly by the public sector, for the future ITS, mature cooperation between the public and private sector in consideration convergence and hyperconnectivity is very important. In order to support future development of ITS industry, the MOLIT will support ITS technology development of small and medium-sized enterprises that cannot establish test environment on their own. First of all, we will create a road image test environment to support the development of image acquisition equipment and image acquisition technology, and provide free test images to companies to verify the performance of imaging equipment. Then incident detectors, smart CCTV technology developed with this support will strengthen traffic safety and response capabilities. In addition, we will support to secure the reliability of roadside communication equipment by creating an indoor and outdoor anechoic chambers that provide test environment for VTX service performance. And we will also expand technology exchanges for public-private corporations. So as you can see here, we are carrying out 3 methods. First, we will hold the ITS-related business meetings where the government, road operators, and private sector officials will gather together to discuss major industry issues and listen to the private sector's demands and needs for the industry. Second, we will hold a private technology exchange meetings to understand the market trends of autonomous driving technologies, such as autonomous vehicle and communication security, and create opportunities to share relevant information. And lastly, we will support companies to verify the technological prowess of newly developed equipment and interoperability with other companies' equipment through interoperability tests. Finally, let's discuss about the future of ITS for technical strengthening and international cooperations. So as you can see here in this map, since 2006, South Korea has been exporting ITS technologies to about 50 countries, and we are making a lot of international cooperations. By 2019, South Korea will perform, has been performing more than 150 projects, including ETCS, ATAFC, WIM, ATMS. Technical cooperation was mainly with Asian countries, but in the future, this cooperation will be expanded to various regions, including European countries. As part of international cooperations, South Korea holds regular meetings with other countries, dispatches manpower to overseas National Research Institute, and exchanges research results. Also, every year, South Korea selects a specific country to host an ITS roadshow and shares ITS information with this country and seeks specific cooperation plans. And let me talk about the Asian ASEAN countries, Korea and ASEAN. Have been closely cooperating since the establishment of dialogue relations in 1989. and conducting regular cooperative activities by inviting the leaders of 10 ASEAN countries to hold meetings. The 2019 Special Summit was an event to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the establishment of ASEAN-Korea official dialogue relationship, where we also announced the establishment of ASEAN-Korea Standardization Joint Research Center. And this AKRC is proposed to jointly develop standards for several content, including ITS, and to establish a joint strategy for testing and certification services. So soon, once we establish a research plan, then the parties can work together to support a domestic ITS technology and capabilities to help ASEAN countries. Through such global cooperation, the MOLIT hopes to become a driving force for the joint growth of ASEAN and Korea. So this concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
예, 장윤
Thank you, Mr. Chang, for your wonderful presentation. Not only for the autonomous vehicle, but also for the integrated mobility, for the convenient travel for all the publics, so digital road infrastructure will take a very important role. Next, the Dr. Sang-Keun Lee from the KRIHS will talk about the global cooperation in ITS standardization with Korea's experiences. He is a Korean head of the delegation ISO TC 204, and he's also a chairman of ITS Standardization Assembly. From 1997, he's working for the ITS standardization and smart city. Please start your presentation, Dr. Lee.
Thank you. Great chance to introduce the ITS standardization history and how to cooperate with each other globally. My presentation contains of this 4 parts. One is the development, ITS development history, and the standardization activities in Korea, and the international ITS standard, the importance of this activity and global cooperation. Okay. Next, please. Okay. During the last 60 years, reflecting the roadway development history of Korea, we can divide it into by 5 regimes: recovery and the renaissance and retardation and reformation. As you know very well, Korea has, after the Korean War, the first from the 1950s, we had to recover our roadway infrastructure. Half of the infrastructure had been disrupted by the Korean War, and after that, 1970s. Next, please. Okay. Based on the construction of Korea, the Seoul to Busan Expressway, we could meet the revolutionary era. And then after that, we start to develop our roadway infrastructure, 7x9 networks. But after the 1980s to 2000, we couldn't expect explosive increasement of the car ownership. But so we could not provide sufficient roadway infrastructure, so which caused a lot of traffic congestion and a lot of pollution issues. So from 2000, the year of 2000, we start to restart our infrastructure building project, and then now we can have a 7x9 expressway networks. And also based on the climate crisis era, so we start to adopt the environmentally environmental friendly transport infrastructure like BRT and KTX, and as you see in these slides, and hybrid car and bicycle. While we are developing this kind of roadway infrastructure, we realize that only providing the physical infrastructure is not enough for accommodating explosive increasing the traffic demand. So we start to adopt the ICT technology, that it will be the starting point of intelligent transport system development. As you know very well, for the development of a country or a city, there will be a very critical four component, which are the population and land and energy and human capitals. Recently, in addition to this, ICT technology will be the more very critical component for the development of a country or a city. So intelligent transport system is one of the representative ICT application to the infrastructure. On the other hand, we had, during the last 50 years, we have been experienced a very rapid urbanization. So we responded to this urban challenge by building a new town. So this is the Undang new town, okay, and the phase 1 representative new town, and phase 2 new town is the Pangyo new town, as you see in this slide. While we are developing this kind of new town phase 1 and phase 2, we realized that we need to provide a little bit more sustainable design criteria, which composed of the social sustainability and economic sustainability, lastly, environmental sustainability. Among them, especially the smart city application is related to the environmental sustainability. This is the basic concept of smart city by Samsung SDS. As you know very well, in a nutshell, we need to make an integrated information platform by utilizing the fourth industrial revolutionary technology and the bottom line, and then we can make our city smarter than before. So during the last 30 years, Korea has developed more than 70 smart city nationwide, and by this project, we could decrease our crime rate, and we could increase the arresting rate of the criminals. And also in the transportation aspect, we could increase our travel speed in the city network and decrease the intersection waiting time by this intelligent transport system project. And also the most important thing is as you know very well, the standardization. So from the starting point, we adopt these 5 smart strategies for IT standardization. What is the SMART strategy? So the S means the structure setup for the standardization, and N stands for mutual consensus building, and A stands for the attending the international standardization activities, and R means the establishing the roadmap for the IT standardization, and lastly the training expert for IT standardization. These 5 smart strategies has been adopted during the last 25 years. So one by one, I'd like to explain. The first one, as you know very well, the ITS service area has very broad spectrum. So if we don't have a system architecture and standardized system, you will face a lot of blind spot and a lot of overlapping area, which cause a lot of confusion when you implement the system. So that's the reason we need this kind of integrated system architecture and communication and all kinds of standard for this purpose. So during the last 25 years, Korea has established various kinds of standardization system from the mandatory standard system and voluntary standard system. So the Ministry of Land Infrastructure and Transportation has started to enact the mandatory ITS standard like technical regulation for strong securement of the compatibility and interoperability of the system, like a bus information system and electronic toll collection system. And also on the other style of a de jure standard is international standards, as I mentioned before, and the national standards, KRIHS and KRIHS. And also, we are very proud of having some de facto standardization system, which is associational standard, which are managed by ITS Korea. So with these various kinds of hierarchy of standard system will be very, very beneficial because it has its own, every standard, every level of standard has its own function, providing fast manner, slow manner, and compatibility with nationwide and internationally. So I think this is a very, very important project in the initial implementation stage of the every country. And also in terms of the governance of IT standardization system, we have established this kind of IT standardization system governance among the three important ministry of Korean central government. So from the starting point, Ministry of Land Infrastructure and Transportation has established it from 1998 by establishing a law, transportation efficiency law. Based on that, we started establish the master plan of IT standardization system. And also the MOTIE is the member body of the International Standard Organization, ISO. So under that, we have some cooperative governance with the ministry. And in terms of ICT technology, the MSIP was the main maker of the ICT standard, associational standard by TTA. So with these three ministry has some cooperative organization, as you see in this diagram. And then we can, up to now, we could have established very cooperative and harmonized national governance in IT standardization area. You are seeing the history of the ITS associated standard activities from 2003. So up to now, it became almost 20 years of activity has been carried out for providing the associational standard. So by this activity, every company, ITS related company, regarding its size, small, medium, large size, all the company has been gathered in the same round table, and they discussed every day for making in the fast manner how to provide the standard. So actually, during the last 20 years, Korea Highway Corporation, Express Corporation was the major client. Whenever they implement various kinds of IT system, they adopt this kind of associational standard and for securing the compatibility and the interoperability. So it was so successful, and Korea is really proud of this kind of bottom-up style, not top-down style. Also, we have top-down style of governance of IT standardization system. We could have also bottom-up style of a very democratic standardization establishing system in Korea. So during the last 20 years, we have established these 5 technical regulation, which is very critical for securing the nationwide compatibility and interoperability. and various kinds of guideline and various kinds of communication certification standard. And we adopted. So you are seeing the more than 130 cases of ITS technical regulation application. Every city and neighboring city, whenever they implement bus information system and electronic toll collection system, which requires regional compatibility, they need to, and they had to adopt this kind of technical regulation. So in terms of this kind of compatibility and interoperability nationwide, we don't have any problem at the moment. So since the 2003, around 120 association standards already published and 40 is ongoing. And these are the brief history of IT standards in Korea. As I mentioned before, 1998, based on the master plan of IT standardization, they provide the roadmap, 20 years of roadmap, and almost based on this roadmap, we have been established, as I mentioned before, the various kinds of IT standard system from internationally, domestically, and associationally. And now I want to emphasize again why we need to attend the international standardization activity, especially in intelligent transport system area, which is carried out by ISO TC204, because they can provide the total solution and they can provide a very cutting edge advanced technology in order to make their technology as an international standard. By this harmonizing and balancing activity, region by region, country by country, and we can make all the IT system compatible and interoperable globally. This is the ISO TC204 structure. We have around the 13 working group, and one of the working group is led by Korea, working group 17, and then there are more than 30 countries are participating and 29 countries are observing. So most of the major countries are participating in this very critical international activities. And until now, we have almost 400 of international standards you need to consider and refer whenever you implement your system. And this is the 5 stages of standardization process. And during the last 25 years, Korea has hosted almost 4 times of plenary meeting. So by this kind of hosting the ISO TC204 plenary meeting, we could build a very intimate friendship. And by this friendship, we can share our information, our technology, and our experience worldwide. So I'm not going to go through the detail because of the time. During the last 25 years, GIS-related standard and electronic peak collection standard, and recently the smart city area is also very, very critical area, newly emerging area, as you know very well. And then autonomous driving also getting very important. So concluding my presentation, most of the audience are from the ASEAN countries, 10 member states. And as Dr. Chang already presented before, we are making very aggressive and very positive proposal to ASEAN countries in order to build and establish the cooperative platform by making some kind of cooperation standardization center and so on. Because as you know very well, the Asia Pacific region will be the major worldwide global market in terms of ITS and autonomous driving system. So as you see in this graph, the green color means the Asia Pacific growing area and worldwide. So more active participation of the international standardization activity and communication and interchanging the information will be very, very beneficial for building the international cooperation, especially in this ITS standardization area. So concluding my presentation, actually Korea, especially the Ministry of Infrastructure and Transportation, they are really interested in the ITS globalization. A lot of activities already carried out by the ministry and will be very, very supportive for the future cooperation with our partner countries, especially in ASEAN member state, 10 member state. So in order to promote this kind of international cooperation, I think most important thing is to open the data and information, especially your country's ITS status, the status of ITS development, and what kind of standardization organization you have. And we also dreaming that making some regional ITS regional standardization system in ASEAN 10 member states, which is because you have very close border by border relationship and so on. So like European countries, they have a very strong organization like ASEAN. So we are expecting if we utilize our Koreans standardization experience, then sooner or later we can establish the regional standardization system in ASEAN 10 member states, which will be very, very beneficial for securing the interoperability and compatibility of the not only just for the ITS and smart city application will be also very, very promising area for this activity. So thank you for your kind attention, and we really expect for the future very close cooperation with each other. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you.
Seok-je Sang-gon, thank you very much for your presentation. You have presented a very detailed presentation on KRIHS ITS standardization and trends from your seasoned experience. It will be very helpful to many countries seeking ITS standardization. Next, Team Leader Seok-je of the ITS Strategy and Planning Team of Gangneung City will present Vision of Smart City and Innovative Strategy. He was Secretary General for Intercity Intangible Cultural Cooperative Network, as well as Gangneung International Film Festival. Now he's leading this ITS strategy and planning activities. So please, Seok-je.
The lead director of ITS Strategy and Planning Team in Gangneung City Hall. It is my great honor to present the vision of Gangneung City about a smart city. Next, today I'm going to introduce Gangneung City, what problems this city has, and what is the vision to solve the problems through being the smart city in the future. Firstly, I'd like to say the concept of the smart city we think. The smart city is a city formed with advanced technologies to solve urban problems, the modern and a new paradigm to progress the intersection of human life. Next. A previous page, please. Gangneung City especially focuses on the satisfaction of human life because this city is a small, medium-sized city that doesn't have serious urban problems like a big city. However, we have no doubt that the smart city will be the essential direction we go in the future. So we have been considering how to customize the city concept and technologies for this city. Next. Furthermore, COVID-19 moved the smart city forward, such as telecommuting and all automation systems in every field like transport, office, manufacturing, and finance, and so on. Next, please. Gangneung City for a while. Gangneung is the representative tourism city in Korea, where more than 30 million people annually visit for their vacation. The city is surrounded by a blue ocean called the East Sea and high mountains. Let's see together the city promotion video play first.
Where do you want to visit the most? The best healing place, where it only takes an hour from the capital area, is waiting for you all. Please visit Gangneung's Ocean, where you can recharge your life energy. The ocean where nature and people coexist will provide you a natural cure. The Kingdom of Winter, Gangneung. The pure snowflakes and simple and honest daily snapshots of life will claim your spirit. Gangneung is where nature and people rest their minds and catch their breath. Now, Korea's Gangneung is evolving into the world's Gangneung. Please find your new hope in Gangneung, the Kingdom of Winter.
All right. Let's explain details one more time. The sea is the best tourism asset attracting tourists to Gangneung City. Every weekend and especially in the summertime, people come and enjoy the blue sea and take their stress away. Young people enjoy active leisures like scuba diving, fishing, and surfing. Normal people enjoy coffee on a peaceful beach or having seafood. People enjoy mountains climbing and hiking for fresh air and beautiful landscapes. Next. As the best tourism city, Gangneung has several famous festivals. Gangneung Danuja Festival is a traditional festivity passed on for 1,000 years. It is designated by the UNESCO in 2005. Foreigners particularly love it, so I strongly recommend it to you. Next, please. Another festival is the Coffee Festival. Gangneung City created the Coffee Festival 13 years ago because the beach of this city has been getting famous to drink coffee from coffee vending machines on the beach. Korean thinks coffee is well harmonized with the sea. Next. Recently, we made a film festival because this city is well known as a beautiful location for K-dramas and movies. The Gangneung International Film Festival has been held since 2019. I expect the film festival will be the core marketing role for the world for Gangneung City. Next. One of the unique things Gangneung City has is currency history. Among 5 kinds of Korean bills, 2 monetary models of Korean bills were born in this city. They were mother and son. It is the only case in the world in which mother and son were selected as country's monetary models. It symbolizes Gangneung has traditionally been the center of arts, education, and history. Next. Gangneung doesn't stay in only a tourism city, but want to be an international city. So we hosted the biggest world event, the Winter Olympics in 2018. Next. Through the Olympics, the city was reborn as an international city in which the best facilities like best and safe transport infrastructure, good hotels, and the Olympic stadiums were built. In addition, the citizens did a civic movement and volunteer service at the time. It is the most valuable Olympic legacy. But we have several problems like other cities. Gangneung faces the population crisis, and it always can be occurred serious disasters such as mountain fire, heavy rain, and typhoon. There is a tragic jam in the weekend or summertime, according to many tourists visiting, and environmental concerns as well. Especially, it is getting old by the lack of good jobs for young people. Gangneung City goes ahead for the smart city to solve those problems. Next, let's see the vision of the smart city Gangneung. Gangneung will be developing and changing the smart city on basis of the people-oriented smart city, citizens' participation and information sharing, and the innovative platform. Those 3 visions are considered with essential aspects to convert into the smart city successfully. Next, let's find out our plan. We have a plan to be carbon-free. Next, please. So we have a plan to be a carbon-free and energy-independent city. In detail, the city was selected as the Smart Green City to get $8.5 million from Korean government. The city was selected as a liquid hydrogen zone, so hydrogen stations will be constructed and hydrogen cars, drones, and ships drive in the city in the near future. In addition, there will be a smart green industrial complex in this city. It will help to contract many young people to live in Gangneung City. Next. The city will be built a smart care system controlling by an AI and the mobile healthcare service by the application for the old people. Next, ITS is an important part. We will make most infrastructure infrastructures like an integrated urban information center, CITS roads, autonomous driving cars, and facilities everywhere in this city until 2026. It will be the biggest testbed city in Korea. Next. As tourism city is our competitive and characteristic industry, we will invest our budget and effort into developing a mass related to tourist attractions, restaurants, accommodations, and cultural sites. All information will be solved by only one application so that it will make a tourist get all information easily and fast. Next. We learned valuable lessons from history. It is social integration through sharing information, communication, and gathering ideas from citizens. Even though it takes more time, we will make a citizen committee and listen to their voice. Next. Next, to achieve these projects, we will put $214 million into 3 times stages: the developing period, settlement period, and diffusion one. Next. If we construct a smart city, about $1 billion and almost 2,000 employment effects are predicted by a report. Next. Gangneung hopes to be a role model of the smart city. In the future, Gangneung will be called the healthy city for all the people, the happy city for citizens, the connected information given by an application for tourists, the comfortable city by autonomous driving, and the safe city by an automatic alert system. Next. In Korean proverb, a one-time view is better than 100 asking. In this regard, I'd like to invite you to Gangneung City. If you come and see this city directly, I'm sure that you will fall in love with this city. Thank you so much indeed for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Lee, for your wonderful presentation. Gangneung is currently one of the most beautiful cities in Korea, but with this kind of solid strategy, it will become a smart city and it will become more competitive city in the world. So with this, we will end the first session. So from now on, we will move on to the second session to hear about the overseas ITC policy and technology trends. So for the convenience of the overseas participants, I will speak in English from now on. So the participants here on site, please use the receiver on your table.
And joining today's webinar. And now, here's our first speaker from Thailand. Let me briefly introduce Dr. Sorawit Narupiti before the presentation. He is an associate professor at Department of Civil Engineering and also head of Transportation Engineering Division in Chulalongkorn University. He has been conducting research and development on ITS for more than 20 years. And he served as president of ITS Thailand from 2008 to 2012 and from 2017 to present. All right. I would like to welcome Dr. Sorawit Narupiti to deliver his presentation. Dr. Sorawit, would you please share the screen and start your presentation?
Yep. Thank you very much. And good afternoon, everyone. I hope you see my screen now. Is it okay?
Yes, it is okay. Yeah.
So today, at first, I'd like to thank you, the organizer of this seminar, And today I would like to share my experience on what's happening in Thailand. As you know, I work in a university and I also work at ITS Thailand. So we connect with a lot of people and organizations in the field of intelligent transportation system in Thailand. So today I would like to talk in 3 topics: on the development of smart city in Thailand, smart mobility in smart city proposals in Thailand, and also the initiatives on connected and automated vehicles in Thailand. Let me start my first topic. I would like to show you the policy development pertaining to smart city in Thailand. I'd like to show you the driving force behind the smart city activity and the latest development on where in Thailand has been approved as smart cities or smart areas. And I think every country wishes to have smart city, and we need a lot of effort and enablers, especially on policy direction. In Thailand, luckily, smart city has a big move and push from the policy that we include this in the Thailand national strategies, which is the highest and the most important direction of the nation. From the vision of 20 years national strategies, many master plans or development plans must be made. And we have total of 23 master plans which were developed to follow the Thailand national strategies. So later, Thailand Smart City Development Plan were drafted, and following 3 upper level direct policy directions. One is one of the 23 master plans. Next, 11th National Reform Agenda. And lastly, National Social and Economic Development Plan. Well, let me show you a little bit of the 6 regions of Thailand national strategies. So we have 6 national strategies. This is a core for Thailand. And for smart city, what we want to do we get from smart city, we want to have number 2, promoting economic development. Number 4, making more equality in society. And number 5, improve quality of life through green growth. And being a national agenda, Thai government has found an office to be responsible for smart city matters. The agenda is driven by national level committee, consists of many organizations from various ministries. For instance, Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Science and Technologies, and so on. And an office called Smart City Thailand is founded at Digital Economy Promotion Agency, or DEPA. DEPA's scope of mission covers the wide range of technology promotion to promote economy and society. DEPA drafted a roadmap to make smart city in Thailand. And I can say that this plan is very ambitious. The plan wishes to have 10 smart cities in 2018 and expands to 100 cities in 2022, which 3 cities should be listed as the leading smart cities in the world ranking. Well, in Thailand, we classify smart city into 2 types. One is smart livable city, which make on the existing city. And the other is smart new city, of course, on the new area, which we want to have best possible design and modernization. Okay, in order to make a smart city, one local organization could submit proposal to a smart city committee. Then the committee will determine, evaluate the plan. And once the plan is approved, that smart city area will be given a logo. So they can say that they are one of the smart cities in Thailand. Organizations who propose these proposals can be various, from local government, municipality, private entity, or any organizations who are responsible and be able to pursue and maintain smart city achievement. As of last month in June, 46 city or area submit proposals. 41 places are based on livable city, and 5 are new city. And I show you the results so far. So far, we have 5 areas be approved as smart city in Thailand. And 40 cities are also in the process. Let me tell you one by one. The first one is Khon Kaen Smart City in the northeastern region. The second one is Memo Livable City, which is a small town. Actually, the area is owned by Electricity Generation Authority of Thailand, who has the big coal electric power plant over there. The third place is Chang-Yeon Smart City, which is right downtown Bangkok. The area belongs to Chulalongkorn University, my university. The fourth one is Wang Chan Valley in the east part of Thailand. This is a rather new development area and designed to be the innovation hub. And this area is also in the Eastern Economic Corridor, which is the place that we give the special privilege to all investment. And this area is owned by PTT Group, the National Petroleum Agency. And the last one is Phuket Smart City. You probably know already about Phuket, very famous for tourist attraction in the southern part of Thailand. Okay, the next topic I'd like to show is the smart mobility element in the smart city proposal. Okay. For Thailand, definition of smart city, we have smart things or pillars, ranging from smart environment, smart mobility, smart living, smart people, and so on. So let me focus on smart mobility. As you know, smart mobility has a wide range of definitions, and we know that this is directly related to modern intelligent transport system. And in Thailand, we defined smart mobility to reflect the existing scenarios and to suit the local conditions as much as possible. And at the end, we come up with like kind of KPI or what we want to see from smart mobility. And well, each area or city who proposed to become a smart city has to propose at least 2 smart pillars plus 1 mandatory smart environment. But most of the areas will propose that they would like to do something on smart mobility. Well, we do not have specific requirement for smart mobility, such as what technology that to be adopted, the standard that all cities must follow. Each city is free to propose anything they think it is appropriate for their area. But Smart City Thailand office give criteria for each smart city pillar. For smart mobility, whatever actions we propose to do, it must improve condition of public transportation as reflected by the satisfaction, improve the condition of traffic flow, for instance, ease traffic jam, or improve traffic safety, or simply reduce the number of accident fatality. And from the instruction of smart city proposal, as mentioned, we can propose anything on smart mobility. So we have examples, and I show you on the slide here. I give you some examples. We can improve punctuality of public transport. We can provide real-time information. We can use enforcement systems. We can create application for mobility. We can use a new mode like car sharing, bike sharing, and also we can introduce new modes like autonomous vehicles. Next, I'd like to show you a few examples of smart mobility proposal. And as mentioned, each city can freely propose what they like to do. This is the example from Konkan Smart City. They like to improve traffic flow on road by smart traffic signals and smart parking. They like to do city mobility in a single map application. They proposed to introduce new modes like bike sharing, light rail transit, and bus with good traffic, good information, and smart bus stops. And this is another example of smart mobility in Samyan smart area. Well, they include the connectivity of many modes, including walking. And we could make more smart mobility on the first mile, last mile, using car sharing, electric vehicles, electric bus. And lastly, we could make better connection by introduction of autonomous public transport service. Well, the last example of smart mobility is on Rama 4 Smart City proposal. And there are many elements in this proposal. Well, you see many applications can be done on smart mobility in Rama 4. The smart mobility includes traffic data, improvement of public transportation, e-payment, and much more. So these ambitious actions require good coordination and among several implementing agencies. My last topic is about connected and automated vehicles, or CAV initiatives in Thailand. Well, I think that Thailand faced several problems in other countries. We have accidents, pollution, traffic jams, poor public transport services, and also we have problems on the changing population, changing lifestyle in the digital age. And for Thai people, we heard about big movement on technology disruption. Like in 2015, we heard about Google Car. And we think of how can we use all these technologies to solve our persisting traffic problems like traffic accidents. And we're quite interested to see how these disruptive technologies could help safety and convenience of our movement. And in Thailand ITS Master Plan, we also list that we want to make our transportation smarter. So this is our vision, and I give you some examples. In terms of public transportation, we like to use technologies to move our public transportation, such as information, connectivity, and even autonomy. We hope that within 10 years, we could see something like automatic public transport service. Another example in our ITS Master Plan, for safety, we like to do research and development and pilot test on autonomous vehicles and make good infrastructure, regulation, and environment for the coming next generation vehicles. Another enabling factor to favor CAV in Thailand is that Thailand aims to do 10 S-curve industries. You know, we are good at conventional automotive industry, but we want to move on to the next generation of automotive industry along with electronics and robotics. So according to Thailand Automotive Institute, Thai Auto Institute will go in the direction of CASE, which you know already connected, automated, shared, and electric. So we would like to redefine and realign our industry to go in this direction. Well, lately, we try to do the policy direction to promote KRIHS, but the current policy, we push a lot on electric vehicles, and we talk less about and have little action on the connected and automated portion of the KRIHS. ITS Thailand, with other frontier organizations, initiated the awareness and promotion of CAV in Thailand since 2016. First, we organized what we called AV Roundtable Discussion, and then we changed the name to CAV Roundtable. And we gather a lot of stakeholders and people who are interested in CAV in Thailand. And we organized many meetings and visited many key government organizations. Well, the automotive industry also moved in this direction of the new generation of automotive. And as shown in the picture, this is a forum in 2019. We talk about how Thai industry is moving toward next generation automotive. And next generation automotive becomes a keyword in the industry trend. But most of the development so far, we focused on the promotion of electric vehicles. But the talk on CAV, connected and automated vehicles, gradually arises. And in this picture, again, in 2019, some key organizations gathered and talked about the future mobility and how we moved connected and automated vehicles. Well, as you know, CAV is relatively new, and therefore we need to start to build this industry from R&D to achieve innovation. The situation in Thailand is that we observe the latest development from other countries. But at the same time, we want to do it by ourselves. We want to gather stakeholders and people in Thailand to do R&D. And we hope that we are going to fulfill know-how and move on the production stage. I show you some example on the research and development on autonomous vehicle in Thailand by universities. And this is also research and development on the connected vehicles by several universities as well. Okay. And last example is research and development at Chulalongkorn University. We have done a lot on the research in this field. Okay. Apart from research and development, Thailand also prepared facility and environment for CAV. Like in the picture you see here, this is one of the automotive testing center. This big project is under construction and some parts are already open for testing. And another picture shows another testing facility. This is specifically for CAV. And this facility budget is already approved for construction. So the location is also in Wangjan, so which is a smart city area. Okay, the latest move on CAV situation is that we want to do more R&D, but at the same time, we want to move on and gather more stakeholders to make what we call CAV Alliance. These initiatives allow us to find cooperation among prospect business in Thailand. Let me explain a little bit more in detail on CAV Alliance. Okay, this is a CAV development diagram. In many technologies, we face what we call valley of death because we can have developed some technologies or products, but cannot survive in the production stage or the use stage. And with these reasons, the current project on CAV, headed by Thailand Automotive Institute, they want to seek the cooperation among developer, manufacturers, and users. The target is to co-develop CAV and industries in Thailand and encourage every stakeholder to walk into the same roadmap. Okay, my last slide is on the other side of CAV promotion. Thailand also want to do the human resource development. Like in this picture, we show an example of CAV courses for professional and businesses. All right, that's all from me. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sorawit, for your presentation. It seems that Thailand has prepared very well-organized plan and roadmap on smart cities. I do hope that most cities in Thailand will be turned into smart cities based on smart mobility and connected autonomous vehicle. Then let's move on to the next presenter representing ITS Indonesia. Briefly introducing him, Dr. William Sabandar is currently our president of ITS Indonesia and our president director of MRT Jakarta. He has over 27 years of solid experience in various fields, and he has also served several high-level government positions. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. William Sabandar to deliver his presentation. Dr. Sabandar, we will operate your presentation here, so if you want to turn the page, please say next. Would you please start your presentation?
Thank you very much. First, I would like to thank ITS Korea for inviting me and the delegations to present and to join the webinar this afternoon. It is a privilege for us to join hand, of course, and to participate in this event. And in my presentation, as requested by the committee, I will divide the presentation into 4 parts. First, I will talk about the ITS in Indonesia a little bit, and I will relate the ITS Indonesia's and with the MRT Jakarta, which now I'm the president director of the company, and also to touch on how the public transportations and the effect of integrations of MRT Jakarta with other operators in improving the quality of transport systems in Greater Jakarta. And last, I will also offer some potential collaborations that we can pursue between ITS Indonesia and ITS Korea. Let me move to the first part of my presentations. Next slide, please. I think we are not too far. Yeah? Thailand has just presented us, and I saw my colleague from Singapore, from Malaysia, who are actually in the regions, but South Korea was not too far. So I think it's a lot of potential collaboration that we can promote in the Asia Pacific region. So the event this afternoon is showing some kind of collaboration and solidarity among ITS member and Asia Pacific. And I would like to congratulate ITS Korea for doing this event. Next slide, regarding ITS Indonesia. I am the president of ITS Indonesia starting 2020 to 2023. And at the moment, we are performing as a platform for the development of smart mobility and the development of a digital transportation ecosystem, which support economic growth and recovery, equitable mobility, and environmental sustainability. Our board was appointed during the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. So we put recovery as important part of how to move after the pandemic happened. And we are focusing on smart mobility and digital transportation ecosystem. We have 5 action plans on how we would like to pursue in the next 3 years. Number 1 is on promoting digital transformation for transport development. We are promoting integrated urban transport system, which this is the focus that I'm going to present later. We are also promoting electric transport, like what Thailand has just printed, and of course, Korea has advancement on that, and autonomous vehicles, smart driving, and logistics. And the 5 sectors that we are promoting, of course, on safety and health mobility. And this is related very much on how we promote safety and health, healthy mobility during pandemic or post-pandemic period. So this is our focus and how we are promoting our actions towards 2023. The members of ITS, next slide, please. The member of ITS Indonesia consists of corporations, government, and university. So a lot of corporations join hand here in all 5 sectors, from smart driving, transport operator, the digital company, and the governments. These are the government, the Minister of Transport, the Minister of Research, the Minister of Communication, the Minister of Public Works, the Minister of Information, and also the government of Jakarta, and some universities also involved as the member of ITS Indonesia. Next slide, I'll move to my presentation on MRT Jakarta and what we are doing during the pandemic, and I title is Transformations and Innovations. Why Jakarta? Next slide. Why Jakarta needs MRT? This is one of 4 or 5 years ago, Jakarta was one of the most polluted and most crowded cities in the world. Number 4 in terms of traffic jam in the world, and that's why we badly need a good transport system. If you come to Jakarta, you will spend 4 hours per day on mobility, trapped in the traffic jams, and imagine we are losing about $7 billion per year, which we can actually build about 30 to 40 kilometers of MRT lines if we are actually doing this. And that's why a breakthrough in transport system is needed. Then MRT Jakarta network was developed. Next slide, please. This is the coming of MRT Jakarta. We are now building the first line of 16 kilometers. The second line is coming, 26 kilometers from south to north. And we are in the process of building the east to west and also east to west. So by the year of 2028, we will get around 100 kilometers of MRT Jakarta network. The next slide is actually how this is the first network is being developed with 16 train with automatic operator, and this is actually the first time Indonesia has metro represented in Jakarta. So we are trying to learn a lot from the region and how we move ahead in time to bring our accelerations in terms of developing the public transport system in Jakarta. Next slide. Facing the pandemic, we have to do some kind of transformations. The transport business was not good during the pandemic, so we are introducing what we call transforming business beyond normal. We have 3 modalities in what we call transforming business beyond normal. Number 1 is beyond ridership. We cannot rely just on the ridership. We have to promote lifestyle business, and we have to expand the network. Number 2 is actually beyond physical mobility. Transport system can no longer rely on just physical mobility. We have to move into digital mobility. So we declare ourselves as an urban platformer. And number 3 is actually beyond transport network. We have to do the smart city, the integration between development of MRT and development of the city, the township. So we call it transit-oriented development. So these are the 3 elements that I will explore further. Next slide. Let's move to the first one is MRT is being the network provider. Yeah. So to create environmental friendly culture. Yeah. How people queuing, cleanliness, 100% on-time performance. Yeah. Friendly to bike walkers. Yeah. people with disability. Yeah, these are the environment that you can currently see in Jakarta. And amazingly, after the interventions with MRTs coming, Jakarta has now moved from 4 most congested city to the world in 2019 to the 7, 2020 to the 10, and just recently we are announced to be number beyond 20. So Jakarta has moved out from this because of the use now of public transport system has improved very much, and people now try to move and to use public transport systems because of the advancements of technology in the city. The second slide is MRT Jakarta as urban platformers. We are working all with digital ecosystems, promoting all the partners with startup company on all sectors, on MRT, on carbon offsets, on waste, on the integration with Jakarta bike hub, those kind of things that we promote in the city. Number 3, next slide, is actually, this is the role of how MRT creates a vibrant and a smart city. So the role of MRT in development of the TOD, transit-oriented development, as city regenerator. So we are creating a vibrant city, which will be integrated with environmental friendly culture and also the smart cities. So the quality of life, social equity, and environmental sustainability being developed in that city. Then next slide is actually how we see MRT Jakarta as city regenerator. So at the moment there has fast development on some cities. So before, Jakarta has been very much concentrated in the central city. Now is dispersed beyond or to the suburban areas. So this actually create a mobility, a more smart mobility among people. And in the future, next slide, we can see the target that we are developing. Next slide is actually building further the expansions of MRT Jakarta to 2035. The target in the greater Jakarta is building 10 lines with the total length of 425 kilometers. This ambition cannot be done by the government of Indonesia, cannot be done by MRT Jakarta alone. We need a collaboration, and then we actually offer opportunity for actors and ITS members to collaborate with us in building a better or advanced transport systems in Jakarta and Indonesia. The next slide is how we use technologies. Yeah, in station design, for example, so we can see a better design of the stations. Yeah, we are building the direct connection with adjacent building, underground connections. In building facilities, yeah, we can lead station building facilities. Yeah, indoor air quality improvements. Next slide. Also we can building station facilities design and behavior shaping. So, for example, during the pandemic, how we manage dispersing the crowd, how we manage the public facility, how we strengthen the security system. And this is something that we work digitally. We work with the digital ecosystems. We've developed a platform that we make sure that a collaboration in the digital environment is taking place. Also in the construction area, next slide, please. You can also see innovation in building information modeling as we move to the development of phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4 of MRT Jakarta. We are actually integrating the digital ecosystems in how we design, execute, and evaluate the process by building information system, which is very much a digital approach. We're using the BIM features on doing simulations, interconnected, virtual, and integrated. So we can actually start to do the planning, operations, and business during the construction period. And we also, the next slide, to see the digital transformations, yeah, by having the MRT Jakarta as a platform, urban platformer, involving all the partners, all the startups community, in not just in transport sectors. You can see in the health sectors, in education sectors, yeah, in security sectors, yeah, in gaming sectors, yeah, because this is then leverage high traffic, yeah, maximize retail area utilizations, increase customer engagement, additional revenue streams. Next slide. Now, what come after that? The next job is how you integrate public transportation in Greater Jakarta. It is the largest cities in the Southern Hemisphere. Greater Jakarta has the population of 30 million population, and the only way is to address the pollutions, the jam or the congestion project is actually by building an integration public transport systems. This is actually, next slide is how we integrate the public transport system in Jakarta. And by doing that, we see the 400 kilometers of train systems. We'll integrate all the train systems, yeah, in Greater Jakarta with bus transport system. So with bus transport system, we can see actually this is all the integrations, all the stations, yeah, bus and train and metro, yeah, LRT, yeah, comes together with online public transport systems. And the next slide, we can see on how, yeah, integration can happen at 3 levels. And this is what we are actually engaging right now. Number 1 is actually doing the physical integration between modes of transportation. For example, start to do the integration between train and buses. Yeah, you can see here, yeah, in all the stations of MRT and train stations. Yeah, the next slide, integration at the surface integrations. Here we work with online transportations. Yeah, like Grab, yeah, one of our member. Yeah, Transjakarta is our members. Yeah, railing, LRT, MRT commuter lines. We work together to do the surface integrations. So for example, MRT can be the backbone, but in terms of the feeder line, it needs to be served by the Transjakarta, for example, or by Grab, ride-hailing vehicle that actually widely operated. So these are the members of ITS Indonesia who actually work together to develop service integration. Then number 3, in terms of the integration, is actually integration of the payment system. Yeah. This is also the members, our Secretary General here, actually the President Directors of the integrated payment system. So what is the integrated payment system? Can you move to the next slide, please? Integrated payment systems, next slide. Yes. So the integration of the transport system in Indonesia currently considered not optimal because of several issues. First, there are many areas have not been served to and from trunk line corridors. Yeah. Also, in terms of payment system ticketing, there's various payment cards, no payment gateway yet. Yeah, it's very different with for example, been with Korea ecosystems. People are now still using many cards. Yeah, tariff amount, no bundling rate yet. Yeah, and system utilization is still lower load factor, and this is something that we are now addressing it. Yeah, after the MRT, after the integration, now we are doing payment system integration. Next slide is actually how we do it. Yeah, we are doing now with the payment system in MRT Jakarta. We are using card, we are using payment systems. Yeah, and we are also using all the facilities as payment gateways. Yeah. And people start to use this in the situation. Is safe also because it's touchless. Yeah, but then this is the next breakthrough that we are doing it now, is how we integrate the whole systems of ticketing. The next slide, please. This is what the project that we are doing now. Yeah, with the ITS Indonesia is integrating the whole payment system for the Greater Jakarta, for the cities with 30 million populations, and this will increase our modal split to 60%. What we are actually do here is we call it Jaklinko. Jaklinko Indonesia is to provide integrated payment system for transportation. So this is managed data, big data, and movement patterns of service users from the integration of payment between transportation mode that are effective and efficient. Yeah, so it's a corporate actions between all public transport operator, and fortunately, this is all the members of of ITS Indonesia. So in terms of coordinations, we can work very closely. We use the best technology in the world to use on account-based ticketing. And with the time frame, for example, next slide, you can see here on how Jaklingko integration system implementation phases. Phase 1, which will be officiated in August this year, will be develop central clearinghouse systems and mobile applications for all integrated systems. The phase 2 next year in March, it's mobility as a service. Which is a service that run between shared digital channels. With mobility as a service will allow users to plan, order, and purchase various mobility services. And the next phase, account-based ticketing, which allows the implementation of flexible tariff model, daily, weekly, monthly based tariff, and it also provides various ticketing products based on its target profiles, whether it's students, elders, and etc., etc. So this is actually the development that we are happy to share with you, and we are hoping that we can actually work together in promoting the partnership and cooperations with friends here, especially with friends from Korea. Now, this is my last slide. Next slide is potential collaboration. Next slide. This is what I see and I explain. There are several initiatives that currently going on. For example, as I explained before, the development of railroading technology systems, that we are currently embarked, especially with LRT Jakarta. Korea has supported that initiative. With MRT Jakarta, we are using Japanese technology, but we are now inviting, partners from other countries, including from Korea, for example, the development of phase 4 or route of MRT Jakarta, which now Korea investors has interest on that. We are actually collaborating as well to developing electric vehicle in Indonesia. We know Hyundai is developing one of the largest electric vehicle industry in the country at the moment, which will be a big launch early next year. We are also developing and see the collaboration in developing intelligent transport and tourism systems. We learned that Korea has so potential in attracting tourism sector. So I think this is the collaborations. And last but not least is actually developing sister city between Gangneung city and tourist city in Indonesia. We have a program with Ministers Tourism on developing 10 new Bali. So not just Bali, we know Bali as the most popular tourist destinations in the country, but we are now developing 10 new Balis, and these 10 new Balis is actually being developed with different grades, and we are promoting all the ITTS, Intelligent Transport and Tourism System, in those 10 cities. So we look forward to collaborate with ITS Korea and with the cities on Gangneung City. I think I will end my presentation. Thank you very much, and look forward to response and collaborations with you all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sabandar, for your presentation. MRT system has contributed to Jakarta in various ways, and it is expected that MRT will be a driving force of Jakarta to be one of the best smart cities in the world. Next presentation will be delivered by Dr. Leong from ITS Malaysia. Dr. Leong is a former president and current chairman of international relations in ITS Malaysia. He is also responsible for the standardization of ITS as the chairman of the National Committee on ISO TC204 for Malaysia. Please welcome Dr. Leong to deliver his presentation. Dr. Leong, would you share your screen now and start your presentation? Okay, so let me introduce Dr. Kian from Singapore first. Okay, Dr. Chin has served more than 24 years in Land Transport Authority of Singapore, and he is now a chief engineer for road and traffic. He has involved in numerous projects, including ITS, and nowadays he focuses on the development of technologies for future mobility solutions. Please welcome Dr. Jin to deliver his presentation.
Thank you. First, let me say that I'm also the advisor to ITS Singapore, and therefore what I say can also be my personal views and not necessarily that of my organization, the Land Transport Authority. Singapore, like South Korea, have implemented a lot of ITS in the past to improve travel efficiency, safety, and improve convenience to users. But in Singapore, increasingly, when we want to upgrade, want to expand our ITS systems, we are often asked, why? Why do you need to implement that particular ITS systems? And very often, we would say that it is to make cities smarter. But the problem is what does a smarter city offer in terms of value add to the community? And that is a question that we have been grappling with. Next slide, please. And so I would start off by asking, what is a smart city? And to me, I think there are many aspects that goes into making a city smart. How people work, shop, play, live, and so forth. And transportation is only one of the many elements that goes to make up smart city. Systems that improve reliability, improve convenience, making it more efficient, and at the same time making it affordable and safe for all to travel. And while we say all this, the question always comes back, as I said earlier, what exactly do we mean? Next slide, please. Now, one of the things that I always been telling my fellow colleagues that one of the central tenet of intelligent transport system is the availability of data, lots of it. Data that makes sense of what's happening, and data that allows systems to react accordingly, and data that allows the outcome to be achieved. And in order to do that, you need sensors, a lot of sensors and a lot of storage for data collection and subsequent news. The analytics is important process to make sure that the data is useful. And this is very often not something that we look at to make it more efficient. Over the last few years, I think there's been a lot of talk about artificial intelligence, and that's one area where future ITS will probably rely on to make more intelligent sense of data and what's happening. But doing all the processing alone is not enough. You probably need to get that information out to the people who use it, and therefore the dissemination is important. Next slide, please. So for quite a while now, I think Singapore, we have been having an intelligence system that's integrated. In some sense, I would say that is the Internet of Things, because we would have a central platform that integrates all the various ITS systems together, be it camera systems out there, which we call junction eyes when we place them at junctions, or from the many traffic signals in our road network, from the many surveillance cameras that we put on the road, from sensors to detect parking availability and traffic conditions on expressway and so forth. And all this fits data into a central platform. And the beauty of having a central platform is it forces all this data to conform to a standards. And being part of the standards allow many more things to be done. And as you see on the right, the communications part is equally important. I think today we have been using a lot of cellular communications. In the past, we used fiber optics, but going forward, 5G is coming online, and I think 5G will offer a whole host of improvements from reduced latency, from increased bandwidth, and a lot more things can be done with it. And of course, the applications that harness the data to bring value to the end users is important. And these are the applications shown at the bottom layer, from incident management, tunnel monitoring, emergency response, and so forth. Next slide, please. Now, as I mentioned, with more over-the-air communications like 5G, you get the ability to connect all the systems, the transport systems together. So you have infrastructure, your road signs, the traffic lights, connected directly to the vehicles, and what we call a V2X type of connector systems. And all this will again brings benefit to the users. But what exactly are the benefits? And I'll go on to the next slide. Now, as I said, one of the key things about improving lives of residents, of commuters, is the availability of good information. In order for us to derive good information, I always tell my colleagues that there are 4 things that you need to have for the data, the source in which you get information. One is the consistency of the or the quality of the results, and second is how accurate they are. So you might have a system that is accurate when there's bright sunshine, no rain, but if your data becomes inaccurate when there is heavy rain or cloudy skies, then it's not consistent and it's really of not so much of a good news. So you need to have
Excuse me, Dr. Chin, do you hear me now? Do you hear me now? 네, 잠시 기술적인 문제가 좀 발생을
We're having
해서
some technical
지연이 되고 있습니다.
problems. Sorry for the
양해를
delay.
좀 부탁드리겠습니다.
Please
잠시만
understand.
더 기다려보고 그 닥터 친
So we will wait for a moment,
연결이 되면
and
그때
once we
다시
have a
재개하도록
good connection
하겠습니다.
again, we will resume the session.
Am I back?
Oh, okay, let's go ahead.
Okay, as I've said, that the 4th attribute is what I call exchangeability. This is something to do with the standards. I think this is one of the topic of a presentation earlier on by one of your fellow men. Standards is important, and so it is true for data. You need the data to be standardized so that you can exchange them and be used among all the applications. And the information that is derived from the data have to be relevant. I remember in the old days, traffic information used to come over the air on radio. And when I'm on the eastern part of the city, they will tell me the traffic jam on the northern part. And it's really of no use to me because it's not relevant. But today, I think we have technology that allow information to be made more relevant and also to be received in a timely manner. I remember in days when we used to get complaints about motorists that you tell me that there's a congestion on that stretch of road, but when I get there, it's already free flowing. So it's not received in a timely manner. So they want timeliness. And again, today communications improve. As I said, especially 5G, timeliness can become something that we can tackle more effectively. Third is that the information you provide must be simple enough to be understood by the motorist or end user. Today, in many systems, the information actually is received by the human driver, and the human driver interprets it and adjusts the vehicle to go wherever it's deemed best. But in future, when we have autonomous vehicles, the information can be fed directly to the vehicle. It doesn't need the human driver to be the intermediary, and therefore the vehicle can respond autonomously to traffic congestion and select the best route to reach that destination. Next slide. So in order to achieve all these attributes of good data, good information, again, I want to stress again the importance of good sensors. Today, we used to have sensors like infrared and so forth. But I think over time, we spend more on cameras, use video analytics and so forth. And over time, I think with smartphone around, we tend to use social media. We get data pick up from your smartphones, and all this can be interpreted on the state of traffic. And all this, in some ways, will drive down costs and make the data information more readily available. But preparing the data is important. You cannot just have good sensors and that's it. No, you very often you need to spend time to clean the data and to make sure that the data conforms to certain format again based on the need for it to be exchangeable based on certain standards. And you need to then decide how much to store. Although today's storage is cheap, I think people always say, oh, no problem storing, but it still requires a finite amount of storage, and therefore it's important for you to decide what is the minimal that I need to store and for how long, so forth. The last one is data security and privacy. Increasingly, this is becoming important. I think in recent days, we hear a lot about cyber attack, about ransomware and so forth. And so therefore, data security and privacy remains an issue that all authorities must bear in mind as they progress on smart ITS for cities. Next slide. So at the end of it all, whatever ITS we implement, we put on the roads, it must meet the purpose of end users. In other words, the end user must also be willing to accept the information provided to them, and they must be able to use the information to benefit them. And at the end of the day, ultimately, I would say that it's about trust. How much trust the end user has in the data that comes to them. If the data is of dubious quality and they cannot trust it to be reliable, then over time, the end users will not continue to use that, and therefore the values of the system will come down. The usefulness of the system will probably become less, and over time, people may just not use it anymore. So ultimately, you must put a lot of emphasis on trust and not just the technology itself. Right. Next slide. Now, very often, I'm often asked to name 3 things that ITS systems must serve the end user. And I always been saying that first it must be secure. Secure in the sense of making it safer for the end user on the roads or whatever transport systems they're on, as well as also safe from cyber attacks and so forth. Second is equitable. In other words, whatever you develop must benefit as many people as possible. It must be inclusive. In other words, the system must benefit pedestrians, cyclists, motorists, public transport users, and so forth. And third, you must have to improve the well-being of people. Allow them to travel faster to their end destination, allow them to travel in greater comfort, have more trust on the reliability of system and so forth. But over the last few years, I have been adding a fourth factor, and that's sustainability. Essentially because I think in these times where climate change is becoming a key issue, whatever systems you put up must not worsen and contribute to the carbon footprint any more than is necessary. And therefore, sustainability to me is really becoming another important attribute when we build ITS. Next slide. So, besides the technology issues to make it acceptable, being secured, equitable, improving well-being and sustainable, I think standards is something that we always have to work at. I think one of the presentation earlier on has already stressed a lot of importance on this, and I will not more about this. The second thing is about public acceptance. Whatever ITS you introduce, it must be readily or be accepted by the public. And one of the things to do this is to humanize the technology, to make the technology behave like a human. You know, I always wonder why people build robots like humans. I suppose it's part of the whole process to humanize the technology. But whatever ITS we build, we need to continue to educate the public, the end users, on the value of the system. We need to publicize it. And one of the ways to do it is to have trials and pilot schemes. And I use the autonomous vehicles as an example here. When we started with autonomous vehicles as a potential next generation transport system, we had to spend a lot of effort on publicity and education. And we also have to run trials, pilot schemes to socialize the people, to get people to be ready to accept the systems, that they are safe, they are inclusive, and so forth. And so public acceptance generally is something that authorities or implementators always have to bear in mind when they introduce ITS. The third one is legislation. Very often the legislation is forgotten, but it is necessary to govern its use, to make sure that it's not misused. And where there are incidents or where there are liabilities, you need to have a framework in order to address the issues on who is responsible, who is liable, and so forth. Again, the autonomous vehicles introduction is one example. We need to have rules introduced to govern its use, where it can be used, when it can be used, how it can be used during this period of introduction. And then we look very much at international practice elsewhere to guide us. And we also look at the liability framework. Is the insurance framework that we have today for vehicles sufficient? If it's not sufficient, what changes do we need, and so forth. So these are ongoing issues that I think many communities are still looking at. There's no right or wrong answer yet. Very often at the end of it all, it must be something that the community accepts, something in line with the culture, with the practice of the community. Next one. And this is just to conclude that while technology for ITS is useful and relevant, I would always argue that it's not sufficient. There are many other non-technological issues that you need to consider. I have raised some of these for consideration. And the operational framework, how you operate it to make the smart systems work for the city is also important. And that concludes my presentation. Next slide is just to say thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jin, for your presentation. Singapore is well known for a very competitive city-state based on systematic transport infrastructure, and it is expected that ITS will contribute to the city's sustainable development to be a smarter city. Thank you.
By the way, I would like to thank ITS Korea and MOLIT for the invitation to participate and share with you the CITS development and deployment in Malaysia. My presentation today will introduce you to some perspective of implementing the CITS as urban mobility services in Malaysia. I'll start by giving you a brief on the urbanization of Malaysia, the consequences and the negative impact of urbanization, and how the Malaysian government has adopted the smart city planning approach in addressing the challenging issues of urbanization. For the purpose of this presentation, I will focus on the smart city urban mobility initiative by the government and take you through the journey of ITS deployment relating to urban mobility and the feasibility of how CITS can be implemented in one of the most urbanized and developed regions in Malaysia. I will highlight the challenges ahead and what are the efforts of the Malaysian authorities towards facilitating the implementation of CITS for the urban mobility in major cities of Malaysia. Slide number 2, urbanization in Malaysia. Urbanization is a global phenomenon, especially for developing economies. Malaysia is no exception. Given Malaysia's small country size, with a population of only 33 million, Malaysia experiences tremendous rate of urbanization from about 30% in the 1970s to the more than 80% currently. The number of urban areas and city status urban centers have reached 314, and they are governed by 154 local administrative authorities. Slide number 3, critical urban challenges. Urbanization is a catch-22 situation where one can see the economic and physical transformation of rural areas into urban setting, presumably with an economic growth. Nevertheless, with the increase in rural to urban migration of significant population increase and scrambling of space for physical development, coupled with the unrestrained desire for travel to work and leisure, urbanization does bring along with it critical urban challenges such as significant increase in population leading to shortage of housing and resulted many crowded living conditions. The exponential increase in demand of urban services due to the rapid rise in urban population cripples the efficiency in delivery of urban services. When there are more rural migrants having no skill in urban living and struggling to meet one's needs in a competitive and densely populated areas, rising crime rate is unavoidable. When the increase in traveling needs outpace the provision of public transport services and the additions of capacity to the route network, critical congestion, especially during peak commuting on route network, becomes a norm in our urban living. Consequently, pollution and environmental continues to degrade due to carbon dioxide emission and loss of green spaces to unrestrained physical development. Slide 4, smart city. The tremendous urbanization rates have put the urban planners under pressure to seek new approach in tackling these urban challenges. The mass city planning bandwagon swipes across the globe, and Malaysia is no exception in adopting this to address the rising woes of urbanization. In the smart city planning framework adopted in Malaysia, it recognizes the adoption of ICT and technological advances in improving the quality of life with sustainable developments and efficient delivery of urban services. Number 5, slide number 5, key initiatives. In the case of Malaysia, 7 smart city initiatives have been identified to address the urban challenges. In this presentation, I will only elaborate more on the smart mobility initiative. Slide number 6, CITS services for smart mobility. Under the smart mobility action plans, there are 4 major strategies identified. Top in the priority is the need to upgrade all existing infrastructure, including the internet connectivity relating to route transport operation. Moving next is the need to promote shared digital infrastructure with the concept of open and shared digital data platform for transport operation, especially with regards to the operation of public transport. With these strategic directions, the focus would be on deployment of intelligent transport systems with the utilization of artificial intelligence, big data analytics, and sensor-based operation of public transport and management of the road traffic operation. A number of proposed deployments, such as smart traffic lights, smart parking application with real-time parking vacancy information, integration of all existing mobility modes, including public transport application, into all-in-one mobile application are recommended. And most important of all is a recommendation to facilitate trials of autonomous vehicles and CITS for smart urban mobility management. Slide number 7, smart cities implementation. Based on the National Smart City Development Framework 2019 to 2025 and the strategic direction, a number of cities in Malaysia, as shown in this slide, have begun implementing the various smart city initiatives. Slide number 8, Klang Valley. For this presentation, I would like to draw your attention to the urban center of Klang Valley. The reason being that Klang Valley is the most developed and mature urban center in Malaysia. It has an urban population of more than 7 million, served by a well-developed route network with more than 14 privatized toll highways. In addition, it has an integrated network of 5 different rail systems and complemented by the operation of buses, taxis, and e-hailing services. There are more than 40 sophisticated traffic surveillance and control centers for the monitoring and dissemination of real-time traffic information to the drivers through variable message signs and mobile applications. Slide number 9, highway network in Klang Valley. This slide shows the interconnected highway network serving the entire Klang Valley. Traveling within and across the Klang Valley to any destinations are easy, except for the congestion problem, especially during peak periods. Slide number 10, rail network. Besides the well-connected highway network in Klang Valley, the integrated rail system network serves the entire Klang Valley and connecting it to the other conurbation urban centers surrounding the Klang Valley. The rail systems comprise of MRT, LRT, electric commuting trains, high-speed rail, which are well integrated with a single ticketing system. The entire rail system operation is monitored and managed by the Integrated Rail Operations Center. Rail system operation information is easily accessible via mobile applications and static variable message sign at the station. The rail system forms a backbone of public transport operation in Klang Valley and supplemented by the bus, taxi, and e-hailing services. Slide 11, smart mobility applications in Klang Valley. As shown in this table, there are 5 categories of smart mobility services currently in operation, namely the toll highway network management, traffic information management, urban traffic management, public transport operations, and other systems relating to environmental, crime, and miscellaneous urban services. The various ITS systems for these categories of smart mobility services are deployed by various different ministries and agencies. The details for the various types of ITS systems and the agencies involved is as shown in the slide. Yeah, you can refer to the slide. And slide number 12, various traffic control operations centers in Klang Valley. This slide shows the various traffic control centers, such as the Public Transport Performance Monitoring Center, the PLUS Highway Operation and Monitoring Center, the famous Smart Tunnel Cum Highway Operation Center, etc., which are currently operated by the various ministries and agencies. Slide number 13, enhanced ITIS system. Of special attention that I would like to draw you is the enhanced integrated transport information system operated by the KL City Authority. The enhancement focuses on integrating the various ITS systems operated by the Kuala Lumpur City Hall into a common platform so that the entire integrated system enables a better provision of urban services to the city folks. Besides disseminating real-time traffic info to the road users, traffic incident information are also alerted to the road users. Artificial intelligence, big data analytics, and cloud computing are employed for the better utilization of all the information collected through the various sensors. Slide 14, comparison of EU and the smart mobility service in Klang Valley. This is a very interesting slide, which I would like to share with you. You can see that the CITS urban services, as defined by the European Union CITS Platform Task Force, are currently being operated in Klang Valley too. With reference to this slide, you can see that the current ITS services provided in the Klang Valley matches most of the CITS urban services, both day one and day 1.5 services as defined by the European Union CITS Platform Task Force. This is an important comparison illustrating the feasibility of CITS operations in the Klang Valley. Slide number 15, challenges of CITS implementation in Klang Valley. Though it may seem feasible and optimistic that CITS can be realized in Klang Valley, there are enormous challenges to be addressed. Top in the list is the legacy problems. As shown in the earlier slide, there are a couple of existing proprietary ITS systems which were deployed in the mid-90s and are still in operation. Though they may not be compatible with the present technology, it will be extremely costly to migrate or upgrade this obsolete system with the latest technology. Moreover, many of these ITS systems were deployed in an ad hoc manner, fulfilling only the specific objective of the agencies and mostly customized based from vendor-driven specification. There's no consideration for any data sharing or system integration in the designs. As these systems were deployed based on proprietary specifications, they are not integrated nor interoperable. Slide number 16, efforts in addressing these challenges. Realizing these current constraints and issues, the authority has stepped up various efforts in mitigating all future deployment and enhancement of ITS system. The government has formulated few supportive policy framework to facilitate and provide strategic directions in the deployment of ITS system. Instead of letting the cats run loose situation where the deployment were done in ad hoc manner by different agencies, the government has designated lead agencies to champion the future deployment of ITS systems based on categories relating to the core responsibilities of the agencies. In order to ensure interoperability and integrability, compliance to standards specified by a national level are encouraged. Knowing the constraints and deficiencies in the telecommunication needs, the government has focused on expanding the existing telecommunication infrastructure to accommodate new technological advancement, especially catering to the 5G arena. As Malaysia is a new emerging economy where expertise on technology is still lacking, the government encourages collaboration of local industries with foreign experts through partnerships and joint venture. Slide number 17, 6 supportive policy framework. There are 6 supportive policy formulated in providing strategic directions and to support for future ITS deployments. This includes the ITS blueprint, the National Transport Policy, the National Automotive Policy, the National Policy on Industry 4.0, National Internet of Things Strategic Roadmap, the National Fiberization and Connectivity Plan. Slide number 18, Supportive Policy Framework. The highlight of this supportive policy framework can be summarized as follows. The ITS blueprint recognizes the importance of digital connectivity and the need to deploy vehicle to infrastructures, vehicle to vehicle, and vehicle to center communication for the CITS implementation. The National Transport Policy highlighted ways to optimize new technologies in transport operation, ensuring seamless integrated transport infrastructure. While National Automotive Policy aims to enhance the automotive industry in the era of digital industry transformation by focusing on next generation vehicles based on autonomous vehicle technology, Industry Revolution 4.0, and mobility as a service. The next slide, number 19, continuation of supportive policy framework. The national policy on IR 4.0 enables a holistic transformation and adoption of the technology application of all the local industries, while the National Internet of Things Strategic Roadmap aims to create a national ecosystem for the proliferation of use and industrialization of IoT as a new source of national economic growth. And the last National Fiberization and Connectivity Plan provides the strategic direction for the implementation of policies and initiatives relating to 5G adoption in the telecommunications sector. And slide number 20, expanding telecommunication infrastructure. Under the National Broadband Working Framework, 4 working groups, i.e. business case development, regulatory, infrastructure provision, and spectrum allocation management were established. They are tasked to coordinate and monitor the national 5G implementation program to facilitate the adoption of services enabled by 5G. Slide 21. The lead agencies for CITS urban services in minimizing the repeat of different agencies deploying different ITS systems based on their limited scopes and operational confinement. The authorities have designated key agencies to champion the development and deployment of ITS system in line with the future CITS platform for the smart city urban mobility services. 6 national level technical working groups under key designated ministry or agencies were established, namely the technical working group number 1, led by the Ministry of Work, is responsible for all highway ITS system. Technical work group number 2, led by Ministry of Transport for urban ITS system. Technical work group number 3, led by Ministry of International Trade and Industries for the implementation of IoT and ITS system standardization. Technical work group number 4, led by Malaysian Communication and Multimedia Commission, is responsible for all media communications protocols for the ITS system. Technical work group number 5, led by Ministry of Domestic Affairs for broader crossing ITS system, while the last technical working group number 6 is led by National Disaster Management Agencies for all disaster and environmental ITS system. And slide 22, ITS standardization. This is something I'm personally involved, and I'm especially interested in these activities in ensuring compliance and a more integratable ITS deployments. The standard department from the Ministry of International Trade and Industries is leading the ITS standards development in Malaysia in line with the ISO TC 204 in ITS standardization. Malaysia is a peer member of the ISO TC204 committee and has established working groups in mirroring the ISO TC204 setup. Our local experts are also participating in the various expert group working committees of TC204. The national level technical working group number 3 has been entrusted to spearhead the development of ITS standards for CITS. This working group is currently in the ad hoc working group with Korea, KATS, and KSA for planning pilot CITS project, as well as participating in the Korea's proposal for the establishment of ASEAN regional ITS architecture and standardization. We hope that our application for the ASEAN Korea Cooperation Fund for the implementation of CITS components will be duly considered by the Korean government. And slide number 23, technology collaborations. Due to limited local expertise on CITS development and deployment, the government encourages public sector to collaborate with foreign technology experts and partners. The government also facilitates private sector collaboration with foreign expertise focusing on autonomous vehicle, cloud computing, AI, and big data analytics, as well as data security. Slide number 4, pilot project of autonomous vehicles and CITS. In the pursuit of CITS implementation in Malaysia, the technology collaboration of MARI with foreign experts together with the National Regulatory Sandbox Initiative Committee have successfully deployed a pilot project on CITS by setting up a track for the trial operation of autonomous vehicles in Cyberjaya. Cyberjaya is one of the designated IT city of Malaysia. The autonomous vehicle testing route consists of a 7-kilometer loop with all the relevant signage displayed. This testing route is open to all private companies who have developed autonomous vehicles for on-site testing. With this pilot CITS project, the lessons and experience gathered will be of paramount importance to the future CITS development and deployment in Malaysia. As a conclusion, I can confidently say that CITS deployment is feasible in Malaysian cities, but its successful deployment rests entirely on the right business model. And lastly, the last slide, I would like to thank all of you for your presence in the sharing of my presentation and wishing everybody a good day and stay safe and be healthy. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Leong, for your presentation. I do believe that Malaysia will have well-organized smart cities based on the smart city framework towards 2025. And especially CITS will be a core element for it. Okay, it is the end of the second session. Please understand that I will progress the remainder of the webinar in Korean, but you can still use English channel via Zoom interpreter. 네, 다시 한번 진행도 했던 부분에 대해서는 그 참가자.
I'm very sorry for the technical difficulties, so please understand this situation because probably these technical challenges will not happen if we go back to the normal situation. So distinguished guests from home and abroad, this concludes the 2 sessions. And please understand that we will skip Q&A session due to the time constraints, and those who have submitted questions already would get questions via email later on. So we will conclude all the sessions. I'd like to express my gratitude to all attendees from home and abroad. And we are facing challenges caused by global COVID-19 pandemic situation, but I believe that we will all can meet again soon without wearing a mask. Until then, please stay healthy and take care. And MOLIT and ITS Korea will try to host another good occasion in the near future. With that, I'd like to conclude my remark and event. Thank you.